Hello guys, this is Nate here with your 20-second Python programming tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be talking about string formatting. This is the second part. We had a first part of it in the beginner section. Before I start though, I'd like to talk about a few things. First being that I got a new keyboard, the Razer Black Widow, and it is perfect for programming. Like the click of the keys, and it's also backlit, or you can not have it backlit, and it just looks really nice. Aside from that, I'd like to talk about how you can edit your IDE so that you can have a different theme in it. So we go into PyCharm settings, go to appearance and theme. There are different themes. There's Darkula, IntelliJ, and Windows. Windows is good. I like it because it has the Windows UI. If I go over to IntelliJ, it kind of looks similar. Apply. Did I apply it? Yes, I did. Okay, so it has a kind of looks like you're on a Mac. So that's what IntelliJ looks like. Or Darkula is pretty much the same as IntelliJ, except it's a dark theme. And this is what it looks like. I prefer to use the Windows theme. But for Java and IntelliJ, I use Darkula. So we're just going to do that, go with Windows. You can change it there, and there's a whole bunch of other settings that you can mess around with. Moving on, I would like to talk about string formatting operators, as well as repetition and string functions, and multi-line strings. So, and if you have any questions or anything like that, you can leave it on the forum. Or if you want to look up a function or something like that, you can go to the Python documentation, which you can find on their website at python.org. So let's talk about string formatting operators. So I'm going to go ahead and make a variable called number. We talked about %s and %f in the last video using floats and strings, how you can replace things. I'm going to go ahead and make a number called 4, and I'm going to make a string called string1, say number, and we go over here and type print, and we go ahead, make a string, and we do %s, %d for decimal, and that does not give you any decimal points. It's kind of like an integer. So you can do % and then do number, and if we have one, or if you have multiple, you have to use parentheses. You can also use a space, or you don't have to, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to use str1 and then number, and then it should say number 4. Go right click, run, and it gives us 4. Okay, so that's the string formatting operators. One other thing I want to talk about is repetition. If you want to repeat a string, str1 equals hello world, and you go print str1 times 2, then that will give you hello world twice. As far as escape characters, we talked about that in the last episode of string formatting. There's things like new line and single quotes, double quotes, tab, and a whole bunch of other things that you can look at on the Python documentation. So that is the string formatting operators and repetition. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some string functions. Let's make str1 and let's say Bob. So names are supposed to be capitalized. Our first function can help us out with that. If we go print capitalize str1 dot capitalize and run that. It capitalizes Bob. And if we want to make it all uppercase, what we can do is upper, run that, and it completely capitalizes Bob. If we have Bob in all uppercase, we can go ahead and write lower, and that makes it all lowercase. Okay, I'm gonna write out a domain now for our next few functions. The techunion.com, www.techunion.com, 3 W's. Okay, so str1 dot ends with. Okay, what this function does is it tells us if a string ends with a certain substring or suffix. So I want to check if this is a .com domain, and the second two parameters, they're optional, they're not required. That says the starting index and the stopping index. So by default is 0, and then the final index is the length of the string. So we're going to go ahead and print that out, and it does end with .com. Let's see, if I do .org, it'll return false. So if you want to check domains or something like that, or last names or something to that nature, you can use the ends with function or method, because we'll talk about that in the next episode about objects and methods. But this is a method. Some of them are methods, some of them are functions. So let's see let's do the starts with function. Starts with www dots. So we can determine if this has a www dot in the part of the domain. Run that, and it does. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at the is lower and is upper functions. Is upper, I should do is lower first because it's in that order. Okay, so str1 dot is lower. So this tells me if it's in all lowercase characters besides punctuation, and it is. Let's check is upper, and this pretty much does the opposite. Let me just make okay. Now that gives us true because it is upper. Alright, and I did want to talk about multi-line strings before I want to move on to the other two functions, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and make a multi-line string, and hello world. Tabbing really doesn't matter. Okay, so this will, let's go ahead and print that too. And move that over. str1, run that, and it outputs them on separate lines, as you can see. If you want to get rid of the tabs, you can just do that. It just looks a little messier. So those are multi-line strings. So let's go ahead and work with those multi-line strings. str1.find. So let's see, let's find the L, the first L. Or actually, no, let's find the W. Let's see what's, let's see, I need to press insert. Let's see where that is located. What index? Needs to be capitalized because there's no lowercase w, and it returns -1 if it can't find it. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Yeah, so that gives us 7, the index of 7. It'd probably be a little bit less confusing if we just write this on one line, because we don't have to worry about new line characters and stuff like that. So let's run that now. That gives us 6. Let's see if it's 0 or 1 based. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is 0 based. So it finds that is the index of 6, which starts at 0. Okay, so that's what the find function does. If we go over and do the count function, what that does is counts, see how many L's are in the string, and it'll give us 3. So there's 3 L's in the string. So those are all the string functions. That will end the string formatting mini-series. So I hope you enjoyed that, and in the next few episodes we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic called object-oriented programming, and that greatly affects the speed and precision of your code, and it's a great tool. So we will be talking about that. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.